It is time for the People's Choice, where viewers like you have told us what they've been playing, and I picked out a bunch to share with you, from some downright classics, some so new I don't know where to buy it hotness, and as always, several surprises on this month's People's Choice selections. Rising from the ruins first this month is the Architects of Amitis. The King of Babylon wants to offer a marvellous present to his wife, Queen Amitis. He wants to build the most beautiful city ever created. And he's asked two of the best architects in the world to design the city, and only the very best one will be built. We've all been there. It's now up to you to create the best design. Architects of Amitis is a tile placement game with a slight tic-tac-toe mechanism, where players will have to select a tile by placing it into their city, gains them points from the type of building, as well as for the bonuses for creating specific patterns the king wants to see, and collecting 3 tiles in a row also grants bonus scoring in the king's favour board. So careful worker placement selection really is key to victory. Annika V has been playing this one, and they say, this game took me by complete surprise. Simple, sleek, and really good looking. It's super easy to learn, but each choice is meaningful. What a cool 2-player game. I've played a bunch of this game. I really like it. It's cool because it's a 2-player game, right? And it's like a head-to-head, and it can only be that way because of this tic-tac-toe mechanism. You've got this grid of tiles to select, and you put your worker on, and that's how you select the tile, but the worker stays there and you want to create a row. But that means, do I take the tile I need to get points from the buildings or to create my patterns, both valid things to be trying to do, or do I try to take the tile that's going to get me that 3 in a row so that I can get end game scoring with this king's favour board? Every turn is so easy, but you start to think, okay, I need this tile because of this, but I need to think about this, and I need to think about this. Every tile you take has a lot of decisions, and it's just, God, it's brilliant. Architects of Amitis, I'm really looking forward to purchasing it. The world that we know and possibly love no longer exists. There is no government, no army, no civilization. The United States have collapsed. Suckers. And now, 30 years after the war started, new powers finally try to take control over the ruined country and establish a new order, a new country, a new 51st state. Or state 1, if all the others have got. The game's called 51st State. 51st State is a card game in which players control one of 4 powers trying to build a new country. They do this by putting new locations into play, hiring leaders and sending people to work in buildings to gain resources and new skills. Every card is multi-use, and only by cleverly chaining combinations can players gain the upper hand. Mike K has been building a new world for us all and says, this was the only game in the multi-use card series from Ignacy Trzewiczek that I didn't play. Unfortunately, 51st State showed up on Board Game Arena, so I had the option to play it multiple times. It's such a good engine builder. I like 51st State. It's a bit grim. It's a bit of a grim, dark future. Mutants and violence, you know. The actual card playing is incredible because it's multi-use cards, right? As we said, and you're playing a card down to build it, and you want to chain things that you're building, and you want things that you're building to use the resources that you're collecting. And if you want to get more resources by making deals, and resources don't go from round to round, so you've got to do a whole thing with that. You've got to try to build things where you can store resources, and all the time you're trying not to the things that you own can get destroyed. Now, the games that have come after 51st State have been cute. This one is not cute, but it's great. Look, in the game Cities, no pressure, but you have been tasked by the City Council to put together a plan. We're going to put together a plan together. We can do this to transform a whole neighbourhood in the city. I'm highly qualified. You have the opportunity to build new housing, office buildings, parks and leisure areas, and it's in your hands to make the city a better place. Cities is unsurprisingly a city building game in which players draft the best projects to build the best neighbourhoods in a given city. There are 4 things to draft each round, and it's the first come first serve system, so players must decide what's the most important thing they need and prioritise correctly. Steve and R have been playing this, and they say that while not the most complex game, it can be very thinky, deciding to take a goal or a tile or a feature or a building on your turn in hopes that what you want next turn will still be available creates a bit of tension. It's super fun and fairly quick, so you can play game after game. As a bonus, there's also a fan-made solo mode. Ooh, Cities is great. I loved this game from last year, and my copy is right there. Proof that I'm loving games still. It's brilliant because of that tension. There are 4 things that you're going to get 4 things over the course of a given round, and you want all of them. You at least want specifically one of each of them. A specific one. But you have to choose, what do I go for first? It's a devilish decision. And that's what makes games fun, in my opinion. It's super quick to learn, super easy to set up and play. The different cities give you different endgame scoring. And one of the things you're getting, and I love this, is you're getting scoring cards. And they don't do much, but you can get multiple versions of the same scoring cards. And now my yellow buildings that are 2 stories don't score 2 points. They score 4 points. Now they score 6 points, and I got a ton of them. But I have nothing else, because I've prioritised incorrectly and now I have lost. That is how a game of cities could go, if you're me. Swooping in now, we have Flutter, where players can immerse themselves in the wonder of nature and create a vibrant meadow, bustling with flowers to attract the most vital creatures of the ecosystem. Graceful hummingbirds, swift dragonflies, flittering moths, delicate butterflies, dancing ladybugs, and revered bees, the king of the pollinators. Flutter, other than being a word that I use a surprisingly few amounts of letters to say, is a strategic tile laying game where players take turns laying tiles on various shapes, earning petal tokens for matching flower petals. These precious petals are then spent when tiles are enclosed, supplying the tile's pollinator with all the flowers it needs, earning pollen. And you better believe, in a game about butterflies and bees and pollen is points. Frost GT has been playing this, saying, tile laying game with flowers and butterflies and other nectar pollinators. What's not to like about this? I love the look of Flutter. I haven't had a chance to play it. I saw it being demoed at Essen, and it looks lovely. And I like tile laying games where the tiles are weird and wonderful shapes, and Flutter does that. It just looks lovely and vibrant and accessible and probably a lot of fun. It's a game I'm really interested to play. Probably not a cause for concern, and I don't want anyone to panic, but the forces of evil are threatening to overrun Hogwarts in Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle. But on the plus side, this is a cooperative deck building game, and it's up to 4 students. Just send the team. It's up to 4 students to ensure the safety of the school by defeating villains and consolidating their defences. Taking on the role of Hogwarts students, Harry, Ron, Hermione, or Neville, each with their own who's Neville? Each with their own personal deck of cards. Players can gain influence and add more cards to their deck in the form of iconic characters, spells, and magical items. The villains set back the players with their attacks and dark arts, and only by working together will players be able to defeat all the villains, securing the castle from the forces of evil. Andy S says that an old game, but one I finally got my hands on, although the timing couldn't be better in introducing my 6-year-old and 9-year-old to playing it. That is what I've heard about this game. That it's really good at kind of like teaching deck building. It's meant to be fun, and you are doing deck building stuff and defeating villains, as we've seen many times, but you unlock more things as you go, which adds complexity to the game. And I like games that do that. They're really useful tools that are also fun to play with. That makes it great. If you consider yourself a pro experienced board gamer, I've heard that you can just open the first 3 boxes straight away. You know, just we can deal with that. But it's a great way to, I love games with progression. Things to open. What's not to enjoy?
Hey, I'm Chaz.
And I'm Paula.
And we hope that you can join us starting February 3rd for a new series that we're doing called Lost in the Shuffle, where we're talking about offbeat board game related topics, doing challenges and playing games, and we hope you can join us because we are having a lot of fun putting these together.
This is fun.
Keep the heroes out is the next game our viewers have been partaking in. This is an asymmetric cooperative dungeon defense game where players play as the monsters protecting their hard-earned treasure against invading hordes of looters who call themselves heroes or some such nonsense. They're trying to steal it. How can they be good? Your goal as a cohesive team of monsters in every scenario is to survive the 3 levels of threat from the invading heroes by protecting the treasures in each room. If the main treasure is taken, the game ends and you lose. But if you manage to protect the treasures for long enough, the good guys win. The good guys being you, the bad guys. Justin M says, first of all, the meeples are so cute. The theme is really easy to introduce to newer board gamers, and there are so many options to adjust the difficulty to fit the group. I haven't played this one, but I've seen it being played, and I do really like the artwork. All the meeples are big and chunky and do stuff, and I know that all the different kind of like characters that you play, all these different monsters, like work in really different ways and interesting ways. So there's a lot of replayability to be had by the different monsters that you play as, and they work. Like this monster works like this, but with this different character I'm gonna have to do. And it's like working out the best way to synergize your monsters, essentially, is a really big, difficult challenge. And I've also seen, if you do not keep up with this, what's happening in the game, the heroes are very efficient and they start moving as a team, and that's bad. You wanna single them out and murderize them. Welcome now to River Valley, where the animals wear clothes and beautiful pieces of glass can be found along the riverbanks that have attracted the most entrepreneurial of woodland creatures to set up shop. Cute little critter shops. In River Valley Glassworks, players take on the role of one of these pioneers, drafting glass from the market of river tiles to then store strategically, very strategically, in their shop. We are warned that depending on how the glass pieces are placed, the score will change drastically as players work to fill in rows and columns to gain bonus points. Kenneth K has been playing this one. He says that this game was a big surprise for me. It seemed like it would be simple set collection game with pretty stones, but the actual strategy was complex. I played it on Board Game Arena and then immediately went and got a copy of the game. Very fun without the huge rules overhead. I've played River Valley Glassworks once of times so far, and I think I'm interested in trying it again because I didn't get the depth of the strategy, I think, that I'm hearing everybody else get out of it. So I think maybe I was just kind of playing without thinking too much, and it was fun. But I think maybe if I was to revisit this game a few times, I could definitely get more out of it. I just hear so many good things from so many people that I feel like I owe the game a second chance. I had fun playing it the first time. I just think I'll probably enjoy it more, it will grow on me the more I play it. And now, unlike how I describe myself, next is Lone Wolves. Players are the leaders of wolf packs vying over regions to become the alpha and to assert dominance and ensure victory. Players must strategically and cunningly dispatch wolves to territories. The stronger wolf wins, strengthening its pack's position, but despite gaining a scar from the battle and becoming a lone wolf, the weaker one learns from the experience, improving its pack status in the next encounter. What on earth does that mean, you may ask yourself? Well, Lone Wolves is a 2-player dueling, trick-taking, area majority game. Tug of war game. Starting with 13 cards and a dream, each trick is played into one of the 5 territories, awarding points to the player who controls it at the end of the game. Reese B says, I never got a chance to pick up 4 Clans Conflict, so I was happy when I saw Lone Wolves at PAX Unplugged, finally a 2-player trick taker that I love. Yeah, 4 Clans Conflict is the game that this is based on, which was this really small print Japanese trick taking. We've seen this before, right? The best of the best, I like to think, of the Japanese trick taking card games eventually get, a wider release. Thank heavens. Because they're very hard to track down. What interests me about this one specifically, and I really want to play this, is that it has kind of like an area majority thing. You play a trick out, and you have to follow trick taking rules, and there's ways for the trump to get announced twice in each given hand, but you get to choose where you play the trick out to. Even when your opponent plays to one area, you can play to another area, from what I understand. So you are like trying to bolster your strength, but you don't want your opponent to use that against you almost. And there's a benefit to losing because it just keeps on making areas stronger. So if you keep on purposely losing in different areas, you could... there's a lot to think about. There's also a bunch of bonus tokens in this game that do a bunch of stuff. Man, I want to play this. Reaching new heights now is Zenith, where in the far off future, the solar system is inhabited by 3 races: humans, robots, and Animods. And I'll say right now, whilst distinguished and brave, the Animods are cute. Civilization runs off something called Zenithium. Of course, a clean and renewable energy source, but coexistence is a struggle. And as such, your goal is to unite the planets to gain control of the Senate. To do this, players aim to gain influence on the 5 planets by playing cards that swing the balance with every turn in an aim to get absolute, democratic, or popular victories. Becca Y has been playing this and says, I've been playing the absolute heck out of this online and really hope someone picks it up for a wider English release. I just love the combos, the powers, the tech tree, the tug of war, and the artwork. Zenith is a 2025 game. If it had come out in 2024, it would have been easily in my top 10, top 5, top 3 games of 2024. I think this is a phenomenal game. Not unlike Lone Wolves, we have lanes that we are trying to take control of. We want to get majorities in these different planets. There's so much to think about. There's so much fun to be had because the cards can be used for diplomacy, which gets you like a runner-up prize, but they can be incredibly useful. You can spend the card on a tech tree, which takes a lot of Zenithium, which is the second currency in the game, and it's very hard to get. But man, once you do it, you go up the tech tree, it's really hard for your opponent to come back from that because you get to cascade the effects of the tech tree as well, which is so satisfying. And of course, you can just play the card out for its regular ability. And the fun thing is that the cards all have a varying cost, 1 to 10, and some of the abilities you want are low cost, but you want to play them later. And some of the higher cost abilities are incredible. They just do massive sways. I will stop there, but needless to say, Zenith is marvelous. And topping the tables today is Stone Spine Architects. Look, dungeon crafting is an ancient Minotaur art that you studied for a decade under Master Hortgully. Now, Minotaur, I say Minotaur, and that's what we're going with. To demonstrate your skills as your final project, you must carve your own perilous labyrinth in the base of Stone Spine Mountains. So yeah, Stone Spine Architects is a card drafting game where players compete to construct the most dangerous labyrinth. To achieve this, the players simultaneously, words have no meaning, draft and play cards to expand their dungeons one chamber at a time. But there's lots to consider and factor in. Do you follow your unique blueprint or concentrate on the variety of scoring challenges? Players will need to choose between mapping a path through the underground passages, placing key elements into their rooms, or searching for extra treasure so you can buy more stuff. Tony S says, this game is mean. I don't think it's trying to be mean, but it's mean. I love it though. It's kind of like drafting version of Cartographers, only it's not like that at all. You really need to play it. What a marvelous comment that was. But I have played this. It is another fantastic game from last year. I really was surprised by it. And it does have that kind of like a drafting version of Cartographers feel to it. In a way, I guess. That's right, but I don't understand why it's right. It's made by the same company, perhaps. But yeah, you're drafting cards and you've got so many things that you want to use each card for. Again, it's that delicious decision. That's what we enjoy in games. That's what I enjoy in games. You know, you want to follow the blueprint, all the cards are rooms. You're going to play 4 around. You want to draft treasure chests so you get money so you can buy things at the end of the round, which are going to be super useful. And what you want to pass first so you can get your special scoring things that you're going for, and you want to draft those and get the good ones that at least work with what you're doing. But the rooms you want have different things that have got to match your blueprint. Super important to do because there's loads of points for it. And you've got to think about connecting all your paths. Because you can do the whole game and go, I've done great. And you go, actually, there is no way to get from the entrance of my dungeon to the exit of my dungeon. And that does mean I'm not getting points for that. And that's another way to get huge points. Stone Spine Architects, it's just an absolute quality game. And that's a sampling of what our viewers have been playing this month. To join the discussion for the next episode, follow the link in the video's description to our Patreon to find out how to pick the games featured in the People's Choice episodes. And to see our games on our own personal radars, continue on to this month's On the Radar episode. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you over there.